Thanks for watching. This is my review on the Echo1 AKS-74u. You're all in camera there. First thing I'd like to go over would be the pros of this gun. Next would be the cons of this gun. Third would just be kind of general overall feelings on it. Pros of the gun. It's full metal, except for the grip, the other grip, and the magazine. The fire selector is pretty well done, and if it should ever loosen up, there's a little cover here that you can pop off. There's a little screw, and you tighten it, and then you've restored the tension of your fire selector. That actually works, and your hop-up's inside. It's got a screw to keep your settings tightened down, but other than that, it's just a little thing that you move back and forth, much like this, and it pushes down on the hop-up bucking. It's very compact, and it's easy to hold. It's not so long that you'll feel fatigued after a few rounds. Some of my friends with full-length AKs and the Galils and things like that, they don't enjoy playing with their guns quite as much as the shorter versions of their guns. I know there's no shorter version of the Galil, but there is a short M4, and he plays with that. But everybody generally likes the shorter versions better, so this is a good option. Now the next thing is this front top part of the handle is hollow, so when you open it up and put your battery in, your battery goes into the front handle all the way, so you still have quite a considerable amount of room for battery. And also, just as a point of reference, this is a 9.6 volt 1600 mAh battery, so you could get one, with even one or two more cells in it, possibly even three if you feel like cramming your connector. And that's some serious battery power for a gun like this. That being said, I think those. Oh yeah, it's a decently accurate gun for well, I mean, Echo1 is a rebrander of Chinese guns, so it's about the most you can expect out of a Chinese clone. It's got pretty good range. The folding stock, it works, clips up. As you can tell, your stock's kind of in the way whenever you grip it. If you're left-handed, then it works out a lot better. But that is another good point. This gun is excellent for left-handed people because I personally am a left-handed people. So, if you're shooting, you have access to all this crap right there. So it works out very excellently. Moving on to the cons of the gun, right? If you've noticed one thing about the gun, there is no sight rail, no accessory rail, nothing. That's just how the AK was designed. And so if you do use this sight rail mounting rail, then you can get one that goes over the top of it, but you're not going to be able to fold your stock up anymore. Every single rail available for this thing that I've found, outside of one that screws in where the trigger guard is and comes around, anything other than that, it's going to be in the way of your stock clipping on this thing. Also, placement, right? The rail here comes right up over these sights. So if you get one for a standard AK, you're probably not going to be able to use it without modification. You're going to need to Dremel out a big notch on the sight rail, or you're going to have to find a way to cut off your sights. And that's going to be particularly difficult because this right under there is like a rivet holding the dust cover to this hinge. Now the reason I'm bringing up the sights, a lot of people are like, I don't use optical sights anyway. Right? Like, who cares about red dots and such? I didn't really, but let's see if I can get a straight on view of this. This is being held straight, and those sights are super crooked. I mean, you can't even aim with that. The only way that you can really aim with it is if you aim considerately off to one side, or if you're just shooting and watching where the BBs go. It's entirely possible that not all guns have an extremely ridiculously crooked sight rail like this, or sight like this. Not all of these models of them have them, but I know mine does, and by design it looks like that's sort of an issue with this thing. The front end of the gun is held on by a screw, and this little pin here that you can knock out with a pin punch or a nail set or something like that. But if you do, the whole front, from the front sights to the end of the flash hider, it comes off. And Echo1, or whoever they've rebranded this from, has decided that it was a good idea to take your inner barrel and epoxy it to the flash hider. So whenever you go to remove this piece, your inner barrel and probably the hop-up bucking and all that good stuff is going to come ripping out of the gun, and it's a bad day. That's also why I've decided not to use the front sling attachment, or sling mount, or however you want to say that, because that is such a crucial point of the gun, and it's being stabilized by a pin and a screw. You can remove both of the grips if you're cool enough. I say that lightly. If you're I guess if you're handy enough with like a metal lathe or woodworking or something, you could recreate these and probably put something with sight rails or an accessory rail on the bottom. I think it'd be pretty sweet to see this thing with a grenade launcher on it. But oh yeah, the magazines. Alright, it goes on just like an AK. The mag release, also just like an AK. It fits pretty much anything that'll fit in an AK. This is the 1,000 round D-Boys magazine, and you don't have to worry about it. They all are compatible. Now the yes, that reminds me. The sling mount. Okay, it sounds like if you've ever had a clothesline and the wires are whipping around, it's like ting, 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 right? That's what it sounds like. Or here, I'll just smack it with a pen. That's what it sounds like whenever this dealio is flipping around. So I taped mine down. Using a sling with this thing is pretty much pointless. It's awkward, and if you make a one-point harness out of it, that would work. But overall, would I recommend this gun to someone else? No, actually I wouldn't. It's a good gun, it shoots well, and realistically, it's the perfect size and weight for where I like it. But if I were going to do it all over again, I would have gotten an M4 because it's got the accessory rails, or at least the possibility of accessory rails. I would have gotten one made in Taiwan instead of China. Sorry, Echo1. I would have gone probably like, I don't know, G&G or KWA. So, it is a good gun. Wouldn't buy it again though. Thanks for watching. Sorry.